Hey, what's going on? Thank you so much for watching. It would mean the world to us if you could just scroll down, like, hit the subscribe button for the Snaps YouTube channel. It goes a long way towards helping us out. Now, let's dive into some college football. Jim Harbaugh, the big news. Okay, Zach Pitcher, perfect. Hey, T-Bob and everyone, how are you doing today? Is the rumor true that LSU lost their coach? So let's get into it. Jim Harbaugh leaves Michigan. Didn't get to talk about it last night on the live reaction show. Not nearly as seismic feeling as Nick Saban leaving, obviously, for a couple of reasons. First off, he didn't have the impact on college football of a Nick Saban. He was great. He definitely reshaped the Big Ten. He accomplished something that I think pretty much 99% of us thought he would never do. I mean, just 3 years ago, we thought he couldn't win the big game. Then we said, oh, well, you can't do it consistently. Then we said, oh, well, you can't get to the SEC. Like, whatever. He passed all the tests. He did it. He wins a national championship. Perfect 15-0 year, in which really Michigan was the wire-to-wire number one team. So he definitely reached heights that we never thought he would, but he did not leave the wake that a Saban leaving did. And then the other main reason why I didn't feel as seismic is because this was expected, right?
Yeah.
Nick Saban came out of nowhere. I mean, even Saban himself says like 5 minutes before he was still deciding. This was more of a confirmation. Like we've operated this entire offseason as expecting him to go to the NFL and specifically the Chargers. I think it's a great pickup for LA. You know, I think if you look at his resume, we talk about Matt Rule being the fixer. Matt Rule is a fixer, but it takes 2 years, right? Jim Harbaugh's year one turnarounds are fucking unbelievable. I mean, the Niners had missed the playoffs 8 years in a row. He takes over. Alex Smith becomes one of the best quarterbacks in the league. They go 13-3 and make an NFC championship. He did the same thing at Michigan, taking over a sub 500 team, and then they win 10 games. So that's going to be great for the Chargers, great for Harbaugh. I think Jesse Minter goes with him, which is key to note. That's a big
100%
loss.
He goes with him.
That's a big loss for Michigan because Minter is one of the best defensive coordinators in the entire country. We're a college football show, Aaron, and so we have to talk about where this leaves Michigan.
Well, I wanted to, before we get into where it leaves Michigan, I want to ask you this question: like, what is this now coupled with Nick Saban do to college football? When college football is, it's the coaches are the personalities. I've said it over and over again. The coaches are the personalities. The coaches are the faces of the universities. Two of the biggest brands in college football, Nick Saban, who was the biggest, and then Jim Harbaugh with just everything that he's done since he got to Michigan, just who he is, a major brand too. Losing those two guys, what does it do to the brand overall? Does it do anything? Is it just going to be like, all right, thank you, appreciate your service, we move on? Or does it, does college football take a hit a little bit with these two guys gone?
No, I don't think college football takes a hit. I think in many ways, it kind of makes it more exciting. Now, there is a fascinating chart that we should probably break down at some point this week or next week, I guess, since today's Thursday, where we have learned that the vast majority of college football viewership comes from the SEC and the Big Ten and about 18 different teams and markets. They're in. Now it's still a ton of people. I mean, college football is the second most watched sport, but it's a top heavy sport to begin with. Alabama fans are not going to stop watching because Nick Saban's no longer involved. Michigan fans will not stop watching because Harbaugh's no longer involved. And if anything, if this makes other fan bases more competitive, then maybe you actually add fans to the game. I think the momentum of 2024 is greater than any one person. I mean, we are seeing the true reforging of America's second favorite sport in college football. And you already know all about it, right, guys? Like all the portal NIL stuff, the 12-team playoff, the brand new Uber conferences, which we'll get into the ACC today, like 17 teams. What the fuck are we doing? But whatever, that's for later in the show. The point is we're completely remaking the sport top to bottom. And now outside of Kirby Smart, it's wide open. Like it is a muddled mess of very good coaches who have been chasing national championships, but have been gatekept mainly by Nick Saban, and in Ryan Day's case, at times by Jim Harbaugh, who now those obstacles are out the way. So now it's kind of like you overcome Kirby. Hey, you got a really good shot. Like you should probably win that championship. So really the big winner here is Kirby.
But it does take away 2 tier 1 coaches. I mean, that's the problem. And if Kirby does what he's capable of doing, like you may get Nick Saban 2.0 for real, because there is no one on his level just yet. And someone may prove that this year. And someone may jump into that conversation. Kind of our threshold is here on Snaps. If you win a national championship, you and you're a really good coach, you jump into tier 1. So unless you're Mac Brown at North Carolina, you're still going to be a step below that. But no one's tier 1 besides Kirby right now. So does it make college football as exciting knowing that you have a Georgia roster, which is elite, with the best coach in America on that roster? It kind of feels like we're back to Alabama all over again, where it's Nick Saban and the best roster in the country.
Then go prove it. I mean,
I'm just saying, like, it's heading in that direction.
I'll bet on the field against it. Yeah, it feels like that, but we don't know. Yeah. And again, we live in the most democratized time for college football that we've ever been in. Where guys add to whatever. You all know what I'm talking about. So maybe, like I said, like it's huge for Kirby because his daddy left, right? So he is now the man of the house.
Yes.
What is up for question is whether or not he will exercise the same iron fist that his former father did over his household, or will this be a situation where the kids can get away with a bit more?
Yeah. And I will agree with you. Like, I do truly believe that the momentum that was created this past season and all the excitement heading into this new era of college football with the 12-team playoff, like the train is moving. It's moving pretty fast. Maybe losing Saban and Harbaugh is like a little bit of a speed bump, or it's just like, we dropped down a couple miles per hour, like, but that's it. Because you can't act like losing those big personalities is good for college football. Like, those guys are great for college football. Hardball and all the craziness and all the drama. Bro,
I'm not
brought
like
a lot of eyeballs to college football.
I'm not super passionate that I'm correct in this, because that's a very fair argument you're making right now. But if I wanted to craft an argument, I could craft an argument that it's good for college football based on what I just said, right? That if more teams are relevant to championships and it's less, it's Alabama and Georgia again and Ohio's, like if it's less of that, then the sport.
If Kirby left, you think the college football would be in a way better spot if Kirby would have left and taken the Falcons job?
Yeah,
then it would be
absolutely. Yes, then it's truly
wide open.
Then you're starting to really feel like the NFL almost to that point where it's a very even playing field. And I get you. Maybe I'm wrong. Like, I don't know what actual business analysts would say about the effects of personality on the college football marketplace was the
NBA down when Michael Jordan was winning every year with the Bulls? I don't know. I'm asking.
No, I'm pretty sure that would have been a prime. But that's a bit different because the NBA is a superstar driven sport, and Michael Jordan himself was something unworldly. Like, I feel like it's easier to cheer for a random NBA superstar than it is for a coach that is always beating your team or has his team always. Maybe I'm wrong. I
don't know. Listen, Michael was the Bulls, Kirby is Georgia, Saban is Alabama, Harbaugh's Michigan.
I agree. I think we're getting, again, I don't feel very passionate on the subject. I think we're getting into a bit of apples and oranges.